Is the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast coming to you from the Varsity Sports Bar and Grill on Beachmont Avenue in Anderson Township, and I'm going to crack open this cold beer to get the show started off, and we are off and running. And man, it is cold outside today.
Man, it's cold.
But here we are, all assembled, and I have a bit of a correction to make. So, Rob Herking, after the introductions, I would like to inform our listeners and our viewers on the YouTube about a mistake that I made during our last podcast.
Go ahead, Dan.
Well, no, let's do the introductions first.
Hi, I'm Rob. This is Jason.
Don't be a dick.
Let's just get his 20-minute monologue out of the way.
It's not a 20-minute monologue. I just want to – I made a mistake. I'm owning up to the mistake that I made during our last podcast, and I just want our listeners and our viewers to know that.
I'm Rob Herking. Thank you.
Because people rely on us for information that is interesting, timely, fun to talk about.
I thought you
with
wanted
their
to
friends
do,
and neighbors.
I thought you wanted to do intros. Jason,
the
firefighter, is in the house. He had a busy evening last night, so he was a little tuckered out today. We had to chirp him up.
Way too busy.
A lot of fun stuff going on in the Natty and the surrounding community.
Jesus, shootings, car wrecks.
God bless.
Not letting a fella sleep. That's all I want to do is sleep. Just let me sleep.
Yeah, and I thought Tansey was going to be on because there's a lot of fun stuff going on in North Carolina. He may be on. If he comes on, I do have some questions about some North Carolina stuff and where exactly this city is on this one story that popped today, how close it is to Clayton, because I might want to go visit the house. Go field trip.
Uh-oh.
It's coming later. It's coming later, and that was no pun intended there.
But the shooting shouldn't start until it gets to be about 80 degrees outside.
That's usually when that shit happens.
Well, you fire off a gun, that barrel's hot. You got to keep warm somehow, man.
Well, when it's cold outside, the shootings tend to.
Every time somebody says that, I can think of that Christmas song, "Baby, It's Cold Outside." And I notice you're still not using your new flask.
This one still has bourbon in it.
Jesus. All right, Dan, do your correction. Let's just get this shit show.
So during our last podcast, I started off talking about that well-known climate activist and genius, Greta Thunberg.
Oh, God.
You mispronounced her name. Is that what you're going to correct?
And I talked about a tweet in which she indicated that a top scientist has revealed that unless we stop using fossil fuels immediately, that the Earth will be doomed and we only essentially have 5 years left.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, it turns out, I discovered through my own research, that
who told you?
Was it on the Google?
Somebody told him.
I do my own research, and I discovered through my own research.
Oh, I can't wait.
Somebody called him out
that I was incorrect about that posting that Greta Thunberg had made.
If you called Dan out, please call the show or post a comment.
No one called me out. I'm doing this on my own because I want our viewers and our listeners to know the correct.
Just fucking get to it. God damn.
Just saying.
Go.
Context.
Go.
Get to it.
Context is important.
Yes. Yeah. So say the context.
So it turns out that was not a new tweet. It was something she posted on Twitter from 2018.
Okay.
From 5 years
ago.
Well,
it's still dumb, so you're still not wrong.
I'm just saying.
You're still not wrong. So
well, I was wrong because I indicated that was a tweet that she had just posted.
And nobody really gave a shit.
I think instead of one more and I'm out of here, it's one time with Greta and we're done talking about her.
But it's still it's still a fun thing because she tweeted that out 5 years ago and she removed that from her postings.
Okay.
Because she was obviously dead wrong.
And she's still stupid, so it's fine.
Well, I mean, none of us have ever testified at the United Nations before, so who are we to belittle the achievements of Greta Thunberg?
None of us had the opportunity of Twitter, Dan, and the internet where everything is true and nothing is wrong.
Just say it. It was a tweet from 5 years ago.
Got it, Dan. Got it.
In which she predicted the end of the world. It didn't happen.
Yep. I predicted that you were going to do something about that, and you had to bring it up again. So let's do today in history real quick, just to change directions and hopefully allow Dan to zone out and get back on the Twitter where we can come up with more false shit that was on.
Before you start this, I'm going to bring our guest in.
Oh, we have
that way he's in the studio for this day in history.
We'll go ahead and introduce the guest because I don't know which one it is.
I do. It's weird. So we've got the one, the only Drew Breasy from Failure to Stop.
This day in history, my ass.
You just wait. It's awesome. You just wait.
There are some cool things going on today and tomorrow.
But I figured if we have to suffer through it, you have to suffer through it as well.
Got it.
Breezy, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you, man.
Great to see you. How's it going, fellas?
Thanks for being here.
It's a
Oh man, it's always a pleasure.
progress.
It's always, what's that?
I said it's a work in progress as usual.
Oh yeah, believe me, I know.
Breezy,
right.
you're going to learn some things here.
Well, just
You ready?
hold on to yourself because this is going to be a riveting, 4 or 5 minutes of content here.
Are we gonna
You
get?
can't get any place else?
Are we gonna have to rehash Herking's fondness for Greta Thunberg?
Oh, that's Carol, man. That's Carol. And you know what? That is history today. Who gives a shit?
I made a mistake, and I just wanted to correct
You know what? What I read is on the internet, not on the Twitter. So if you want fake news, that's
Okay.
Carol's side. The real news comes from me, and these are verifiable facts, Breezy.
Okay.
All right? They haven't been pulled from the Twitter. 2004. Today is March 14th, by the way. 2004. Oh, guess what? Surprisingly, the re-election of Vladimir Putin as Russia's president happened today.
Did you vote for him?
And he's a listener of the show.
Putin.
He is.
He's a listener, Vladimir.
Stephen Curry, 1988. Quincy Jones, 1933. Birthdays. English theatrical physicist, or theoretical. I'm thinking of Dan's fucking research skills, theatrical at best. Stephen Hawking, best known for his work on physics of black holes, kind of like going into Dan's head and listening to shit coming out of his mouth. Died at the age of 76 today in 2018. Didn't he invent that one thing where you could type messages in it, the tablet thing in the 80s and 90s, and it'd read it back to you?
I don't know if he invented it, but he had.
I saw.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
He had
All I can say about that is God rest his soul.
I have an itch.
But he had a setup to where the computer screen could actually monitor his eyes, because at the end, that's all the movement he had left. And so to enable to communicate, to be able to communicate, he actually looked at a letter by letter to spell out what he wanted to say. I'm
So
saying that's
Dan will be correcting this on tomorrow's episode of the podcast because he read it on the Twitter.
I'm just saying.
1964.
That's true.
The first courtroom verdict to be televised in the U.S. was Jack Ruby, who was found guilty of the murder of Lee Harvey Oswald, the assassin
Shocker.
of JFK.
I can't believe he was found guilty.
I know. That's unbelievable. I can't. Was that like one of the first assassinations or killings that was caught on camera with the perp
Sure.
walk?
Yeah.
I think that's why cops did perp walks back then. All right, we don't want a trial on this shit show, man. Let's just make sure we publicize where we're bringing them out, what time, and fuck you on the. But they didn't have bulletproof
That was
vests.
the most baller perp walk ever, though.
Oh, it was
Well, no, if you've got the guy who shot the president, you're going to perp walk.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Wow.
Allegedly.
Depends on what you believe.
You didn't have the guy. Nobody caught the guy on the grassy knoll. We know this, Dan. That's fact. It was on Twitter 5 years ago with Greta's post.
Greta Thunberg has predicted the grassy knoll was occupied by
1899. China's copying this. German military official Ferdinand Graf von Zeppelin received a U.S. patent for a navigable balloon, which has been stolen because Chinese don't give a shit about secrets and trademarks and all the other copyright shit. So they stole that idea and they start floating those Zeppelins across the U.S., which we shot one down about a month ago here at the Varsity, 8112 Beachmont.
We did. Go look at the video.
Yeah. 1883, historian and
Wouldn't
revolutionary
exactly classify it as a Zeppelin, but
Karl Marx. It looked like a Zeppelin, Dan, when it was flying
It was
until
a-
I took action.
It was a capel.
Yeah, it was a capel.
It was a capel balloon.
Apparently, they were running out of stock. of
well, the
shit.
amazing thing was that you had someone who was fluent in Mandarin out there in
Yeah.
the parking lot who
He-
just happened to.
Isn't that weird?
He did babble. He did babble. Karl Marx.
Drew, I'm not sure if you're aware, we hang out with multicultural people.
Oh,
and
I did. I saw the video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I know
the
there's
guy was
evidence.
fantastic. He looked Mandarin.
Yeah, he did.
1883, Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. He died at the age of 64 on today's date. Einstein did some shit. He was born today in
He did some shit.
1879. I don't really care about that. Eli Whitney received a patent today for the cotton,
Cotton
gin.
gin.
I'm,
Dan,
not,
remember
I'm
that?
not even going to say it.
just keep going.
All right.
Keep rolling.
That's pretty much it. I just want to remind everybody tomorrow is the Ides of March.
Oh, it is the
and,
Ides of March.
what was that, Breezy? What book? Shakespeare wrote it. What book?
Othello.
No.
Julius Pius.
Yep. Pretty close, buddy. Pretty close. Othello
tell
wasn't written by him, nor was there a book, I don't believe, called Julius Pius. So
that shows how much you know. But that actually shows how much you know, Dan. I mean, Rob. But how about this?
Beware the Ides of March.
Beware the Ides of March is from Julius Caesar.
Is it Caesar?
Yes. Julius Caesar.
And 3/14, which is today, is actually Pi Day. 3.14.
Oh, that's right.
314.
That's right.
Yep.
Everybody should order pizza.
Sure. Or blueberry pie.
That used to be a big thing when I was in school. 314. It was pizza pie day.
What's the local favorite pie in Cincy? Like, is it chili pie or what's
It's fucking regular pizza? Just because Skyline hurts your belly.
I don't know. Are you wanting actual girls' names?
No, he's asking what the favorite pie is in Cincinnati.
Like, is it elderberry or is there
elderberry,
strawberry or what?
I don't know that Cincinnati has a favorite pie.
Okay.
When it comes to, I know pumpkin pie, Frisch's makes really good pumpkin pie that around Thanksgiving time a lot of folks are partial to.
I wonder what Graders is doing today.
Probably selling ice cream.
What is their March? What's their March for? February is blackberry chip.
We should call them
phenomenal, but I don't know what March is.
What
I will get that information to you, Drew. You being a supervisor, I do not have the answer right now, but I will get it to you.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
If I don't have the answer, I'll go out and get it.
So, Drew, tell us about how your the new addition to the Failure to Stop platform with your comm center, and give us all the deets on the Failure to Stop stuff for people that don't follow you guys yet.
Okay, great.
We're working on it.
Failure to Stop is a kind of a podcast family. There's 4 shows. One of them you can watch tonight live. It's what happens is we broadcast most of these live for the general public on a certain date and time, and then they just kind of morph into being a podcast like within 24 hours or 48 hours. But tonight is True Crime with Andrea Uplade. You've got to see this.
Andrea,
this show. Time. Yeah, it's called Night Shift. Okay, that's the name of the show. And Andrea picks a true crime story, and she goes through it with Eric Tansey, who is kind of like the big papa of Failure to Stop. And so they just kind of go through a true crime story, and they banter back and forth. I mean, last week was the abortion guy that he was kind of a mass murderer and was put on trial for that. I mean, she's covered some great stuff, and it's a good show. It's just a great interactive show. And I'm going to tell you right now, just like here on One More and I'm Out of Here, the money is in the chats. Like, you got to get in the chats. That's where you get the best banter, and that's where you get the warmest feelings of family and friends. So on Wednesdays, Eric with Dead Leg Media does a show called Last Call. Or Last Call of the Day, as it's sometimes called, but it's usually for members only on YouTube, but it does turn into a podcast almost immediately. And that is so it's a show for first responders to not talk about first responder stuff, so you don't sound like an asshole on the weekends. And that is basically because you've had your fill of domestic violence and dead babies during the week. 2 things real quick,
and I'm sorry to cut you off, but you normally sound like an asshole on the weekends, first of all, Drew. Secondly, Dead Leg Media. Dead Leg, I apologize for the Stephen Hawking comment in regards to everything else. My bad, man. I did not mean to poke fun at you.
Hold on a second. I'm getting a text from Dead Leg Media.
It's coming in as
fuck yourself. Fuck yourself, Hurricane.
He's used to hearing that, so that just goes right into his brain.
So they do that on Wednesdays.
Bag of straws for his wheelchair.
It's weird. I'm getting a text right now too.
So they do that on Wednesdays, and then that drops as a podcast almost soon after. It's a great place to discuss conspiracy theories. Thursday nights is my favorite night. Obviously, it's the Comm Center with Drew Breasy. That's the official name of the show because I am an attention whore.
Damn it.
And what we're doing is I'm teaming up with a guy named Jonathan. I don't want to say his last name because it will dox him. If I were to say his last name, it would be Bates. and he is a dispatcher somewhere in middle
with Yates.
Somewhere in middle America. He's a dispatcher, and what we do on that show is I'm a former dispatcher turned cop, retired cop. He's a former officer of sorts turned dispatcher. So what we do is we take a call from its infancy, from when they call 911 or from the officer rolls up on it, and we discuss and not necessarily critique, but we kind of give a behind the scenes look at the breakdown of the 911 call, why the operator is asking what questions they're asking, or why the dispatcher is, requesting whatever information they're requesting. And then we move into the phase where I kind of break down the law enforcement aspect of it and take it from A to Z. And then Friday is the flagship show on Failure to Stop. And that's Friday mornings at 11. You can join us on the YouTube channel on Failure to Stop. And we break down the current events of the week. Like a couple of weeks ago, we broke down the Tyree Nichols case, and Herking got to be a part of our live later in the night. We have recently, we had a good debate last week about whether or not there was merit in releasing the remaining 40,000 hours of the footage from January 6th. I mean, Tucker Carlson got the scoop and everybody seems to be offended by that, but what does anybody have to hide is my question. And so we had a good spirited debate, and you know what? It comes with my 29 years of experience as a cop, and it also comes with Eric's connections in law enforcement. So he literally was talking to a member of the U.S. Capitol Police before we went live on the air. Like, it's fresh information. We don't make the stuff up. So
it's a good episode, and
that's cool.
You guys do a great job on every one of those platforms, in the one platform, but the four, families of it. You guys are phenomenal.
It's a good transition through the week too. I mean, you hit a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching it at night. Did you move the time on Fridays? Because I remember the first episode, the Tyree Nichols one, it was at like 7, I believe, because I was hauling ass to get home.
Yeah.
But now it's 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. It's always been 11 a.m. We just did a special.
Because the media was being released.
It was because they were getting ready to release the Tyree Nichols case, and we wanted live reaction because that's what we do. We scoop live reaction, just like you did with the balloon in the park.
Oh yeah,
you found the Mandarin guy.
Fuck you, G. We took that thing down, man. Come get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested about the where you guys came down on the release of the 41,000 hours of video recorded at the Capitol on January 6th. Now that we've seen what Tucker Carlson has presented, I got to tell you, I'm a little bit let down. I was expecting to see more, and we haven't seen more since that initial release. That's been more than a week ago now. How do you feel about that?
I've seen it. I've seen enough. I don't think that I've seen enough to be convinced that what I thought from the get-go is the truth. Now, lest anyone think that I don't think it was horrible what happened that day, and that there was definitely some violence to police officers. Some police officers were hurt. So there's a lot of trauma associated with that, obviously. But this is the other side of the story. And like I said, what's the harm in telling the other side of the story? Why do we have to stick with what the Good Morning America producer stitched together for the January 6th committee as the official narrative of what happened? Now, people are making a big deal of Tucker saying things like, well, I mean, it was just they were just tourists, or they were just, and that's not exactly what he was saying. He showed the violence just alongside of the rest of the footage. And my question always is if Joy Reid were provided this information by Kevin McCarthy, would anybody have a problem with it? Or if Anderson Cooper or Don Lemon
well, no one on the left would have a problem with it,
right.
which is I think is very telling. If you look at the reaction that you got from Schiff and Chuck Schumer and all the usual suspects
right
on the left, the way they reacted to that. And it's a time-honored tradition in the media to try and get a scoop and be the first one to have the goods and be able to report that. So, to my way of thinking, all that information is going to be looked at. McCarthy has said
Dan owes a tab.
Yeah, he's owed us like 10 of them. He also owes Varner $102.50.
McCarthy has said that all that video is going to be available So if Tucker is there's a whole lot of people lining up to talk about how Tucker Carlson is lying to everyone. And then my way of thinking, if he's lying to everyone, then that's going to be exposed, because there's plenty of people out there who'll be more than willing to expose that.
Yeah, so two things. One, like the footage he did show was eye-opening in the sense that, they charged this Jacob Chansley, the shaman, what do they?
The QAnon shaman.
The QAnon shaman. Yeah. Okay, so they charged the QAnon shaman. They put him in prison for close to 4 years. I think it's like 42 months or 44 months or something. Now, the thing is, his attorney appeared on Tucker Carlson on the fourth night of them showing video. Maybe it was the third night, and gave a full A to Z of the defense. Like, look, the guy was a little mentally unstable to begin with. He's wearing fucking face paint and a Viking helmet. What do you expect?
He's shirtless as well.
He was shirtless as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a pretty decent physique. He's not like you and me. So
he's got a lot of tattoos too. That helps, right?
But you know what? His defense was not privy to the other 44,000 hours. We're members of law enforcement. We don't know that they were Capitol Police officers, or I don't know that they were Capitol Police officers. From what I understand, they weren't. But there was law enforcement carrying him around, kind of showing him different places, and that's exculpatory information. I mean, Rob will tell you all day long that's very valuable to the defense. And of course, there's no discovery in the federal process, and the federal
laid it out on a table, man. Here's what we have. Here's your deal. Take it or you're screwed.
Yeah, and the federal prosecutors have overtly said we're out to make a statement. We're out to make an impact so that nobody ever does this again. Well, at what price though? At the price of one man getting justice? I mean, that's 4 years of his life and
deprivation.
Yeah, there are people still sitting in jail over this stuff, and so I guess what I'm saying is my view of the footage is, in totality, there was a good minute 30 of horrible violence or whatever, like, that was stitched together, but there's 44,000 hours where that stuff wasn't happening.
Yeah,
there's definitely another side of that story, and I'm not crazy about anybody breaking into the Capitol. I'm definitely not crazy about a police officer shooting an unarmed woman and getting away with murder. So I think the other side of the story needs to be told, and if Schumer and Schiff have a problem with it, that's exactly how I know it's true.
So the funny thing, like, listen to your guys' breakdown of it, and what I enjoy about you and Eric being on that program is you guys don't agree on everything. So like Eric would go down a path, and you're like, well, listen to this. Here's my thoughts. So I love the banner back and forth.
Yeah.
Now I want to get your thoughts with was it Nancy Pelosi's daughter or whoever was doing that little documentary, following her around, like, while they were doing all the shit, her and Schumer sitting there and just listening to them and all the bullshit. Like, you can read in any normal person, I would say, could read into, like, they knew exactly what the fuck was going to happen.
Yeah.
And the fact that they actually let that get released, ignorant, in my opinion. I mean, if I knew that, like, my daughter was filming, or whoever she was, a niece or I'm not sure, filming this on an iPhone, you knew it was happening. So shut the fuck up and let it take its course. But you're trying to implicate more stuff outside of what is already happening.
Right.
And it just, that's, I think a lot of discord came through all of that extra shit that came out afterward. But obviously we're all assholes, because if you supported Trump, you were an insurrectionist, even if we were in Cincinnati or you were in Florida or wherever. It's
funny you say, though, that the discord happened after. I mean, first of all, Schumer and Schiff and all these guys are hanging their hat on what a security violation it is to release all this footage.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah. And first of all, he ran all of the footage by the U.S. Capitol Police. They never had a problem with anything that he was about to air, with the exception of one thing, and he blurted out. And on top of that, everything that was in that documentary that Nancy Pelosi's daughter did, or whoever she is that did that was like secret areas that that was like escape routes and that nobody had a problem with that. No one had a problem with that being out. I mean, I don't know if the Capitol Police did. They probably weren't allowed to say because she's the boss, or she was the boss at the time.
Well, and you guys brought up in your breakdown of it the fact that the guy that was what's
the one filming,
well, the Viking hack,
the QAnon
shaman, I can never pronounce it. The guys that were leading him around weren't stationed there. So like they didn't have keys to get into certain rooms and whatever, but they're walking around. I mean, like it was a guided tour. Like I would be taking my girlfriend's daughter to the fucking Capitol.
Yeah.
Hey, in this room is this.
And if, you know, and this is kind of where Eric and I split a little bit on the debate. If he was such a threat and he was the face of the entire insurrection, first of all, because that's what he's painted to be.
I disagree with your use of the term insurrection, by the way. And I know there was discord and there was conversation about it, but I totally disagree with insurrection.
So do I.
I mean, it's the people's house. It's all those fucking places are paid for by us.
I still say, right. I've run into this debate, or I've run into this legal issue like early in my law enforcement career, believe it or not. I was a detective and there was a guy that was continually harassing people at the courthouse. And I was like, the problem solved. I'll just go there and I'll issue him a trespass warning. You can't issue a trespass warning. It's his courthouse. So how do you overcome that? I mean, we had to have a judge.
He does something or says something where somebody has a fear of physical harm to themselves, where they get a protection order or whatever.
And it's a whole different story. It's not, you know what I mean? You're right. That's exactly what we ended up having to do. But I mean, so this is, you're right.
Then you get an eggshell person to say I was very fearful because he was wearing size 14 shoes and I got beat up by somebody with size 14 shoes. So I am in fear of my life and safety.
Do you wear size 14 shoes, by the way?
No.
Carol does.
Fuck no, he doesn't.
Even when you're in your
size 12s, man. Carol's got 9s. He looks like a fucking hook.
Even when you're in your clown outfit. So anyway,
only on John Wayne Gacy Day, baby.
Chinese foot binding.
I completely disagree with the characterization that it's an insurrection. I still say, I said it back then, I say it now. If this were an insurrection, why did anybody leave? Why aren't they in power?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't in one breath say, well, they overwhelmed the Capitol Police within 10 minutes and blah, blah, blah. And then the next minute say, well, they were asked to leave. So they just kind of filed out the door and left. I mean, fuck you, that wasn't an insurrection.
Well, the other part that I see by looking at that video, it destroys the narrative that this was a coordinated attack on the Capitol. When you look at the way those people are moving through the building, and not just the QAnon shaman guy, but when you see the different camera shots and different parts of the Capitol,
fucking Billy Bob from West Virginia,
and the way these people are moving through, there's no coordination there. They're all going 1,000 different directions.
It's mob mentality. So you're taught that in the police academy. You're taught that in your continuing ed. Mob mentality. You had one or two people that decided to break the door, force entry, etc. And once they do that, everybody else is going to follow. Well, shit, I've never been in the Capitol. Right. I've never taken an unguided tour of the Capitol. And you're taught as a police officer, you find the most outspoken, the two leaders, you get those two out and away from everybody. The mob typically will die down, or you'll have better control in law enforcement of that mob.
Well, I mean, there's even video of him, not part of the 44,000 hours apparently, but there's video of him reading Trump's tweets on the outside saying, everyone needs to go home. Yeah. He's telling us all to go home. Like
before he even went in. He was saying, and then there was video that came out the other day where he's in the Senate. He's in the Senate chamber and he's standing there and he's raising all these, making a speech or whatever. And then you see body cam footage of law enforcement come in and they essentially say, okay, everybody, time to go. And they all file out. They all walk in. There's this video of them walking completely all the way to the outside of the building.
It was fun while it lasted.
I mean, like they're just like, you guys are such party poopers, man. Like you killed our fucking insurrection.
Yeah, buzzkill. All right,
it was just like Forrest Gump. Sorry, ruined your Black Panther party.
Yeah, it says like everybody out of the pool. Ah, shit.
And they went back to work.
It's Adult Swim. You gotta get out of the pool.
They all went back to work. That's what I'm saying. Not the people that were in the building, but the people that worked there. You know, the house and the whatever. I mean, they went back to work within a couple hours. So that's the weakest insurrection. If that kills the American spirit right there. I mean,
absolutely right there.
There are people in Venezuela looking at that saying, yeah, they can't get shit out of,
Well, Dan, speaking of the weakest erection, I mean, if Dan had Blue Chew, he could do anything like Popeye. I mean, fuck. It would help tremendously. Would you not like to be, and I don't know if you saw this, Breasy, I was going to ask you guys, would you not like to be an inmate in UK's cushiest prison? Did you read that story about the 18 female inmates guards that had been fired or resigned, banging all these inmates and shit at some cushy ass prison there?
Yeah, I read the headline. I didn't read the article.
Oh, you got to look at the pictures. Holy shit!
I'm waiting for the movie.
Article, looked at the pictures. He read it again. Looked at the pictures again.
I mostly hit Google search and images. These girls were pretty nice looking. Most of them.
The inmates or the
girls, Dan. It was a male prison.
So the guards.
Yeah, it's not Orange is the New Black.
I'm just saying. I'm just asking a question.
Well, it could be.
I didn't read the article.
It definitely could be.
No, it could be.
Well, actually, any male prison is now female. You know what I'm saying? Like, all you have to do is identify. I've never understood this. Like, why don't you just fucking identify as the warden and pardon yourself?
That's not a bad idea. You know what's going to bother me is on our road trip to Clayton, Dan and I are going to drive April 11th, 12th, 13th. We're going to be down there together. But on the drive down, what's going to piss me off is having to wait for him to go to the women's room since he's identifying and transitioning that way.
That's not happening.
They always take longer, and he's got to clean the seat and put down the little fucking pull-out thing. And
I actually made a prediction that even before I knew that Breasy and Tansey were potentially going to be guests, is that you were going to bring Clayton up. Well, I already knew what was happening.
I want to ask about Lexington, North Carolina, because I have no idea where Lexington is, and I was hoping Tansey'd be here. Jorge Ivan Santos Camacho. Did you hear about this shit, Joe?
No, I don't think so.
Guy was grooming a girl. He was grooming kids online. He actually went to Texas. This little girl was 13, had been missing for a couple of weeks. He groomed her online, picked her up in Texas, drove her back to his place in Lexington, North Carolina, raped her, put her in a shed. I don't know exactly how in the hell everything came to light, but nonetheless, I want to know where Lexington is in relation to Clayton, and how in the hell, because I looked at a picture of the back of the house and there were other houses there. How do you not hear somebody in a shed?
Yeah.
I mean, I hear my neighbors opening their shed to cut the grass and shit. You can't hear some kid screaming and stuff and make a phone call?
Well, I mean, if it's a torture shed, I'm sure. It may have been insulated for sound.
You're just saying that's how you would do one if you had one.
If
got a little soundproofing in there. Yeah, got it.
Yeah. I mean, a little. You got to dig a. I mean,
you got to do a tunnel, man.
There should be a little hole in the ground for number ones.
for number ones.
Holy shit. Like a Mexican fucking bar, you know.
Hey, let me ask you this.
Be on ice.
Herking, did you just say that you're going to be driving down the 10th, 11th, and 12th of April?
I'm going to be driving down the 10th. I'll be driving back the 12th, I believe.
Are you on a bicycle built for two, or are you going to take a fucking automobile?
12th and 13th.
Yeah, that's what I said. The 11th, I'm driving down. I'm driving back the 13th.
Are you going to take an automobile, or are you just in a golf cart? Like, why does it take you 3 days to get there?
Automobile? I mean, that's how it just came out. What movie is that from?
I don't know.
What was the line again?
It's a vehicle. Automobile?
I don't know.
I can hear it. I just don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. Hey, speaking
ringing a bell.
Speaking of former cops, you being one,
mm-hmm.
You heard about the New York cop who retired in 2008, started slinging some steroids, cocaine, and other drugs, and one of his partners, Martin Luna, he found out he ripped him off by about $200K, so he lured Martin to a bar in like 2014-15. Martin brings a couple of buddies, like his wife's sister's boyfriend or whatnot. There's a total of 4 of them, Martin being one of them. Well, this guy, this retired cop, what was his name? I can't remember what his name was. He was in prison. Well, he lures them away to kill Luna, but the other 3 are there still. He's got a co-defendants that help him kill all of them. He tortured the shit out of Luna, drug him about 20 miles to a field, tortured him, killed him, and then shot the other 3, put him in the same hole. This asshole's waiting for trial. And I believe it was, what was it, 2018, 2019 when Epstein got popped?
Yeah.
He was, Epstein got thrown in jail with this son of a bitch in the same cell. This dude is a beast. I mean, think steroid sales. He's going to be using this shit. Big son of a bitch. This is when Epstein got his ass absolutely kicked in the jail cell. All of a sudden, the jail that was housing him started losing videos. They didn't have the surveillance video and shit.
Shocking.
This guy, yeah, it's crazy as shit. It was accidentally deleted. Check that article out and look at that guy as well as the 18 chicks from the UK.
Okay. We can put them all together and make a movie out of it. Are you a prison aficionado? I mean, is that?
No, I just find
that
that
your
shit
focus?
interesting.
He's
man.
trying. He wants to start his own crime story podcast. Apparently,
No, I'm cruising. I got better stuff to talk about on Crimecast, but nonetheless,
It's actually where he's going to be in probably a couple of years, but he's doing homework.
well, if I'm doing any kind of crime, I'm going to UK, obviously, because that's where the girls put out when you're in prison.
well, you can transition. You can go to any prison in the United States these days, apparently, and say, "Hey, I'm feeling like a female. I'd like to be in the female."
You're going to be getting in the
The female
passenger door
prison.
of my car, and I'm going to ask you, are you a size 16? Get in there. Yeah.
Fucking silence.
Catherine Martin, son of a bitch. Hit you with my cast on my left arm.
Get in the van. You just go up in there and I'll push it to you.
Breasy.
Hey, by the way, Trent Carter's in the house. He's in the
Oh.
comments. Trent Carter's in the comments.
Very nice. Imperial
Trent.
Girl, thank you for subscribing, by the way. I saw that come across. I appreciated your reactions and comments as well when they were doing their breakdown of the Capitol riots / insurrection / Dan's fertile erection on, what was that, last Friday?
Yeah. Just the other day.
She was actually, her comments were pretty good. I enjoyed it.
She's a smart cookie.
She is, and she's subscribed to our podcast, and we love that.
We
Subscribe and like,
appreciate-
so we can be like Failure to Stop. Although we don't have any Failure to Stop shit, we normally see Breasy and Tansey.
Falconators said
It's
I was
okay.
going to say Silence of the Lambs. Damn.
Catherine Martin was her name.
Which we know a Catherine Martin.
We do. That's the only way I remember it.
And it's fucked up.
It is pretty fucked up, man. Have you ever walked out to your wife, though, coming out of the shower and done the Buffalo Bill tuck thing, Breasy?
God, yeah.
Oh,
What
it's
fucking
funny as
what-
shit.
There was
What-
no hesitation there at all. I would actually
what's-
thought there'd be hesitation.
Gee, what self-respecting man hasn't fucking done that?
What was the text?
Well, it's called a fruit bowl, actually.
What was the
called a
text we
fruit
did
bowl.
on Friday, man? Where it was like no hesitation. We both, for whatever reason, agreed to it. I'm pulling it up right now. It was, oh my God, it was a kind of a what if thing.
Oh, is Alex B. Keaton?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I was like, is it me or does Tansey look like Michael J. Fox in that TV show from the 80s? And Breasy goes, Alex P. Keaton. I was like, yeah, Family Ties. Can
And
I
then
read it? Can I
I
read
think
it?
our comments may have been about Meredith, about Mallory.
Yeah,
And
but can I
it just
read the
it
rest of this?
digressed from there. Yeah.
Tell me you didn't want to fuck Mallory so I can call you a liar. I go, I text him back. I was like, I'd fuck Mallory, Jennifer, and the mother, even if I had to allow Skippy to put his finger in my ass.
Oh my God.
And I said, sha-la-la-la.
Remember Skippy?
he was the youngest, right? The late.
No, he wasn't a kid. That
He
was
was the friend.
Yeah, he was the friend. Alex's friend.
I think it was Alex's partner. They played
remember
together a lot. I
Yeah,
think
we have some issues. We should probably not see the same psychiatrist.
No.
that
gotta-
shit's funny as hell.
I got to dial mine in.
You need to like double up on your therapy appointments, like maybe 4 times a week.
It is scary. Some of the shit that go, like you said, the shit that comes out is bad enough. The shit that doesn't come out,
That's-
ugh,
it's a
Good
fucking it's
God.
a train wreck in there.
it is
Yeah,
bad.
it's a spiritual dance. I'm sure. Like it's a
Spiritual my ass.
That is the
man.
nicest thing that I think anybody has ever said about Rob Herking. He has a spiritual dance.
I don't
in
think
his
anything
skull. Like
spiritual
it's
up there.
Definitely wouldn't have been there.
he's conjuring something.
No, anything spiritual going on in there is burning. That's why I get headaches.
Hey, I got a question for you, Dan. Like, just getting back to Tucker, like he flat out called some of these people liars. Like, hey, you are a liar, and they were lying to you, and he made a few points of doing it. I mean, from the broadcast perspective, don't you think that if he was in fear of, in other words, do you think he was taking a risk by calling them a liar, or can he say definitively they were liars, therefore he just came out and said it, like, because he knows there won't be any repercussion?
Well, I think you're probably referring to a lot of the people on the January 6th committee, and
Yes.
that committee was a fraud from the very beginning. And
Yeah.
if you look at and you referenced it earlier about the ABC producer, the guy that used to produce the morning show over there, came in to produce the video and the primetime hearings that they had, so to make it more palatable for the audience that they were going to have. And so to my
There we
if
go. We almost got 3
that's
tabs, although
fucking
he
three.
hasn't paid
I'm
any
just
of
saying,
them.
to my way of thinking, if Tucker Carlson is going to look at this and he's going to call these people a liar, he's essentially throwing down the gauntlet, saying, "Challenge me on this."
That's exactly what I was.
That's the way I look at that, because it to come out on a cable cast like that where you have it. I think he's number 2 to Hannity. I think Hannity's number 1, and then I know the 5 has a huge audience, and then it's Tucker, but Tucker's right there at the very top of audience when it comes to cable news. And so that's the way I took that when he's calling these people liars, saying they are lying to you. He's throwing down the gauntlet, and he's saying, "Challenge me on this."
Right.
And that's the only way that's going to come back to bite him, if they can come out and prove that they weren't lying and that he's wrong. And so far that hasn't happened, and I haven't seen anyone suggest that something like that's going to happen.
Truth is a defense to slander and defamation, but truth is very subjective nowadays. I mean, it just is anything.
Well, and the truth is they were lying.
But what about the Covington kid? Like he sued the pants off of CNN, and he got whatever he gets. So, there's precedence now. So that's why I'm asking the broadcaster. Like, if you're going to come out and say that, you know that you have your ducks in the row. It's not even like, that's a pretty good gamble here that I can call him a liar. It's probably been through legal, and it's been through 25 Fox attorneys, and he's like, no, these people are lying to you, and they're liars. And I think that was a ballsy move on his part, but it's true. We were being lied to for all that time. It's just time that somebody actually took a stand and said it. That's the only way we're going to take anything back.
Yeah, I was working in television when the Nick Sandman thing happened, and that's the kids at Covington Catholic.
Yeah,
and I know in newsrooms, local newsrooms and national newsrooms all across the country, there were a lot of meetings about this and talking about how do we handle situations like this, because the way that really went down was the guy who was confronting him. He pitched his story because that event actually happened the day before any of it got reported on the news. And he pitched his story to a local television station and claimed, hey, I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm a Native American. We were having a ceremony, and he spun his whole tale, his whole narrative, and they bought it hook, line, and sinker,
right,
and sold it that way. So that was, and again, when you put edited pictures with those words, you create a powerful narrative that the people in TV bought before they had really done their homework and vetted this story. And if you remember the way that went down, and I remember it because I'm watching this, and it was on a Saturday, and I was meeting some friends at a bar a little bit later, and I walked in and I said, "Have you guys seen the video of this kid from Covington?" I said, "This does not look good," because I was listening to the narrative and watching the pictures. The next day I get up and I see the video of the Black Israelites, right?
Right.
And the headline is, "Oh, well, here's what really happened with the Nick Sandman thing." And I'm thinking to myself, why am I watching this? And then it turns out that, that's how the whole thing started. And then the ball got rolling from there. And even though the networks knew that, they didn't go back and say, we were wrong about this kid. All they knew is that he had on a hat that said "Make America Great Again," and that made him guilty.
And he was smirking, like,
well,
It was.
he was on. It was an uncomfortable smile,
sure.
as we find out. But he was. I mean, a 17-year-old kid in this.
But it turned out he was restraining himself in the face of a lot of pressure, where this dude was antagonizing him to lash out and get physical with.
Right,
and he didn't do it, to his credit.
He became the smug face of MAGA. And have you all heard about this Nina Jankowicz? Do you remember who she was?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so she was the minister of misinformation before she resigned, but she is now leveled.
She's suing now. Yeah.
Yeah, she's suing Fox for supposedly, like the defamation, a similar thing. So I mean, if you I watched her video of how she outlaid her case, because what she's doing is outlaying her case to get money to sue them, which is suspicious to me. But
very suspicious.
Right. I mean,
she's got the soft music, and she's very subdued, and
she's playing on mothers. Like, she's like, I couldn't enjoy the first year of my child's birth, and it's always the same thing. It's always but I found it ironic that she's saying we weren't even going to we weren't even supposed to be a censorship arm. We weren't going to censor anybody. Yet somehow the only one that she's suing out of all of this is the one conservative network. Like, that it shows, you were going into that job biased. You had bias. I mean, you could have hired Herking to file this suit just to get it thrown out as quick.
No wonder they put you in the communications center early in your career.
Well, the thing is,
when I say earlier, I'm waiting for my cousin Vinny to let me know if that trial is
right. Utes.
I mean, she created her own legacy on social media long before she was selected to be the head of the censorship board that Joe Biden wanted to create.
And she's claiming hands off now, but while she was there, she was saying, I've written 2 books on misinformation. Like, I know how to manage misinformation. So you're going to decide what misinformation is?
Oh yeah. No. She's the expert, but she created all that. No one asked her to create all the nutty videos that she created and put that history out there herself. So all they did was refer to that and say, look, this gal's a little nutty, and she's going to be the head of the what the hell were they going to call that? Was a Homeland Security? And in fact, there's some. I think that when you listen to these people in Washington talk, I know Jason wants me to read the sponsor.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
I just want to comment on
we're
Imperial
49 minutes in and haven't read a single fucking sponsor yet.
When you listen to these people in Washington talk, I think that this disinformation board actually exists now because every once in a while they let it slip how they're monitoring X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And they come out with this disinformation stuff. So I think this board is in existence. They're just trying to keep it quiet.
Imperial Girl, before Dan butchers this read, I agree with your comment. As the show started on the Dan Carroll monologue, he was lazy on his research with the Greta quote that was 5 years ago in 2018 and played it off like it was the other day. So yes, research is important. People forget how to do it. And the Dewey Decimal System with card catalogs, that was the old school way. You actually had to work to get your research instead of popping up the Twitter or the Google and typing in something and then taking it as your fucking own.
I saw that. I was like, I have to put that one up there.
Oh God, yeah. That's an impressive. I love that. I mean, we just learned
lazy,
case in point today.
Information themselves.
Any other 5-year-old tweets that you want to incorporate? And
I'm just saying.
She just removed it today or yesterday, though.
So
it was 5 years old, but she removed it.
That's why it came up in my Twitter feed, and I made a mistake, and that's what I like.
It's over and done with. You've already talked about it.
I know.
I missed it, so I'm sorry. That's my fault. I'm sorry, Jason. Let's get to the ads because we're here for ads. We're not here to talk back and forth.
Well, and we do want to thank our good friend Carrie Wolfangle. And when it comes to real estate across Cincinnati or anywhere around the world, the two names to trust and remember are Comey and Shepherd Realtors and Carrie Wolfangle. Everyone wants a realtor who knows the market, but for Carrie, it is a lot more than that. Her business is built on a relationship of honesty and trust with her clients. Carrie Wolfangle has been recognized with many of the highest awards in the industry. It's why she is the only real estate agent that we recommend. If you or maybe someone you know is interested in buying, selling, moving in, or moving out, then you want to contact Carrie Wolfangle, 513-265-3125, or kwolfangle@comey.com. Your road home starts at Wolfangle.
Love it. I say we keep the ad up the whole time.
That's a beautiful slate right there. I love
Oh, it covers up a shit show.
That was funny. I just so happened to look over. I was like, oh, yep, there it is.
Oh my God.
Well, see, we here at the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast are not fortunate enough to have big corporate sponsors. So we have to deal with private sponsors. So we have to make sure that we read them because we're getting cash money to do so.
You do your thing.
So that's why I have to punch Dan and get him to shut the fuck up and read one.
I don't think I mean, our sponsors are
literally hit him like 4
very
times.
good to us.
I'm just having a conversation. That's all
I
I'm
know. Well,
Yeah.
you have a job to do as well. This is work. This is work as well.
Oh, well, then I can't be part of this podcast if it's going to be work.
All right. Well, all right. So everybody, you saw Dan for the last time. It's going to be
One
work.
more and he's out of here.
Come on, Breasy. Is this work? I mean, come on, buddy.
No, this is
me up on
this
that.
is not
You
work.
know this ain't work.
Right.
Breezy, what day are you going up?
It's not work for you because you don't do shit.
What day are you going?
You
Clayton?
show up.
I'm going up Wednesday. I'm taking an aeroplane.
In the morning.
Yeah, I think it's in the morning,
Jesus.
and I'm staying a little bit out of town.
Yeah, he was too high class to stay with us. So
I don't blame him.
That's kind of a wuss move, by the way.
No, I think it's a good move.
Well, why don't you
Call-
stay with them?
Call
You
me
two
whatever
felt
you
like,
want.
I felt like I was.
Maybe I will.
It felt like I was eavesdropping on a coffee date at
Maybe I will.
Starbucks between you and Breezy on
I
that
have,
last
I
little-
have a plan B now.
I thought it.
I got a plan B too, asshole. It's going to make you have diarrhea.
Breezy and I were talking and figuring out where he was staying, where we were going to stay, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going lower rent district. I'm good.
I think the parking lot's fine for me too. I don't give a shit. 48. I've made it this far.
Right.
Shit, I'm okay sleeping on pavement or grass. I'll find grass eventually, or I'll build a nest. I'll find some loose hair and
Oh.
shit. Maybe pull
Oh
off
my
some
God.
hair on a
Oh
dog.
my God.
The guy likes Hampton Inn. I mean, the breakfast there is awesome. So I can't blame you at all, brother.
I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to hanging out with all you guys down there. And
We are going to have a blast. I'm sad. Like, I can't wait to see you guys. I'm sad we couldn't convince Dex.
I know.
But
yeah.
I
We
was
tried.
I was
We
wearing them
tried.
out yesterday.
Can't
Oh,
they just
man.
have a couple more movie nights to raise that capital?
I don't know.
I mean, shit. Just tell me he has to go over and monitor the eastern border.
Well,
Have the government
I'm
pay
sure
for
he
the
saw
shit.
the Instagram. When we had Dex on, I was like, you have to talk about the Pitts movie theater, please.
Oh my
please.
God, that was beautiful.
It's such a great learning experience for those children. Sour Patch Kids are now $10. They were $5, now they're 10.
Breezy, your layer is impressive though. I always comment on it.
Yeah.
Whatever, is that a fake ass candle in the back or is that a lantern? I mean,
That's fake. That's
I don't have
Shit, it's fake.
What,
You-
what, fucking Jamestown 1778? No, it's not a lantern.
whoa,
It's
whoa.
it's a candle,
What
like a
if I land-
simulated
if I
flame
see it as-
candle. I mean, light
It'd
bulb.
only be
Huh?
better if it was a lava lamp. I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah, the kids have those. I don't engage in that, but
What, you never had a lava lamp when you were a kid? Come on, man.
He's talking about
yeah,
the
I think I
kids
did.
now.
Did you two meet on Grindr before this
I'm just
episode?
saying.
I mean,
Jesus.
holy shit. There is a connection there. Have you noticed this, Kiefer? The vibe, the pheromone coming off of Dan right now?
Well,
I could go so many different ways with this though, because I could throw it back on you as well. But no, we're having a great conversation. A great conversation. See,
All
this is
right.
me being good. This is Kiefer being good.
It's all right. Never mind. All right,
Yeah,
I'll
you
move
don't like
moving
it.
on. Moving on. Shit, I don't even know what to say now.
Hold on.
I'm speechless.
I'm looking at comments right now.
Her king is speechless.
Well, you'll
Make
be
a note of that.
speechless on the ride down.
Someone
Dan.
make a
I'll
note
put
of that.
Little pacifier. in
Imperial
your mouth,
Girl
a big one.
still trying to juggle whether I get up there without having to take a crap ton of vacation by working out of the Raleigh office. Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, just
do it.
Telecommute, you'll be fine.
What I think is cool is as shit with you guys is none of like everybody in the Fire Stop family has never been in the same room together ever until
True. Very true.
So I think that speaks volumes about what you guys are doing remotely, which I mean, we learned how to work remote, or most people did, business world and whatever, but you guys have this podcast and it is a family, and anybody that doesn't listen to Fire Stop, you need to, but they have what they call the Wolf Pack, which is their members, the people that are commenting, like on ours. And I'm not going to throw a name out, but like, somebody fell on some unfortunate times, and Drew was telling me this, that, he got picked up. He got picked up by the people in chat that he'd never met before. I think that is just so cool. And what I love about starting this podcast, and now that we're video and we've gotten to meet you guys and seeing like how the chat, I mean, we're still learning. I mean, we're in the very infancy of it, but what you guys do to lift other people up, first responder, and there's some people in there that aren't first responders at all.
Right. They're there to learn. And that's the other message.
Being a fireman all the time. I fuck with you about being a cop.
Right.
You got Jonathan, who's a dispatcher, but then you have people that just enjoy it and seeing like what happens. And that's why I try to log in as much as I can onto your guys's your live shows, is just to watch it. I mean, even if I just chime in and just say, hey, what's up, Wolfpack? Everybody, boom, 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 boom.
Chief Keith.
Hey, Chief Keith. There you are. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's just so cool to me.
We are striving to be the Anderson Township of the podcast world. I'm telling you, when I was up there, there's something quaint and yet chilling, but fun about being in that.
It's because Dexter was here and there was a shooting, and that never happened.
Right. Everybody was a little nervous, but I mean, but it was just a big family at varsity. You know what I mean? That day, and
Anderson Township, 48,000 of your closest friends, family that
know everything about you.
People will hand up.
Yeah, like we're not going to let anybody fail. I mean, the Dead Leg is in here. Dead Leg. I mean, I think he was largely responsible for, what Chief Keith is talking about is a guy lost his job. His wife was sick. He had to take her to the ER, and I just went to work. I just used the platform to like, hey, somebody help this guy out. I mean, he just lost his job and blah, blah, blah. Does anybody need a mechanic? And Leg got all over it. Next thing you know, he's got a phone call here and a phone call there. And within 2 or 3 days, he was back to work. So
how about that? That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's the community that does it. It's not necessarily us. And we're just like you, we're just endearing ourselves to the people that want to hang out with us, with the exception of fucking Rob Herkin.
There you go. God
bless. See, you bring it on yourself, though. Do you not realize this?
When I watch his
throughout
show,
your whole life, you bring it on yourself.
I watch his show, and
everyone
he's always
says,
chirping.
"God damn it, Rob." Everybody does.
You know what? Speaking of,
in fact, you haven't caught the clue.
I'm trying to keep him on his toes.
Jimmy crack corn, and I don't give a fuck. Speaking of helping people, an Imperial Girl said that you guys have kind of adopted us, the podcast. The Varner Foundation for Children and Families. We want to take a moment to talk about foster care. We believe those who open their hearts and their homes to take care of kids are among the most special of our friends and neighbors. It could be a strain on anyone's budget, and sadly, more than half give up in their first year of fostering because the resources just aren't there. That's where the Varner Foundation comes in. A 501c3 nonprofit, the Varner Foundation enables foster care agencies to help in a hurry. A car repair, a prescription, an extra bed, even a new pair of shoes, and many times a single phone call gets it done. 99.999% of the money donated to the Varner Foundation goes to the mission, period. You heard that right. 99.999%.
I think it's 100%.
Pretty close.
Damn it. You can help make a difference in a child's life today. Donate to the Varner Foundation. That's the varnerfoundation.org, varnerfoundation.org. And I did sub in 100%. 100% was missing twice. So you guys got a drink, and also Dead Leg said 100% earlier, and I didn't see you guys tip a glass. Jesus.
Oh my God, tip your grass. That's the Mandarin guy again.
That's later.
Can I do want to say the other day, the amount of help that you guys have given us, the Failure family, Failure to Stop,
Yes.
the Wolf Pack, the amount of help that you guys have given us being a small grassroots podcast, starting literally in my basement with a 4-channel
Drunk in his shit.
drunk as shit. But getting into you guys, but the amount of shout outs that you guys give us, I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Seeing Eric wearing the jacket that I sent him, you drinking out of the mug that you got when you came up here. Like, it was, I mean, you guys have helped us a ton, and I cannot wait to just hang out, bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Or as Eric said, podcast a palooza, or whatever, or you said it.
I call it Drink Palooza.
It's going to be awesome. And the tech support, I mean, me texting you, I'm sure you're going, oh fuck, it's Kiefer again. Jesus Christ.
No, I'm
Start your
not.
computer.
Figure some shit out.
I'm like, fuck, I'm under the pressure of actually getting this right. Because somebody else needs my help, and you'll be shocked at how many times I do the same thing to Elijah, or that John. They make fun of me at my age, which is quite ageist, by the way. But they make fun of my age, and just the other day they were talking about the old man that couldn't fucking figure out a VCR, and I know full well how to operate this VCR that I use to tape things.
Breezy, two things. One, they've got formula you can brush in. You look like you're in a fucking book by Hemingway, The Old Man in the Sea, with that gray ass beard. Secondly,
now you don't want to cross that line, brother. You don't need that stuff.
I'm good. I'm fine just the way I am.
There you go.
well, you know what you could do? If you shave that beard off, send it this way so we can glue it on Dan's head. Secondly, are you going to be open for a phone call a little bit later? Because speaking of helping community first responders and others, we've got something we're going to talk about. Kiefer, I was supposed to talk about it with him on Saturday, but he got mandated, whatever that means. Kind of what you and Carol were doing earlier. I guess that's a mandate.
Stuck at work.
But nonetheless,
it was overtime, so it was fine.
I want to see if you guys are interested, because we're going to try to raise some money, hopefully, up here for a nonprofit that is doing great things for the community, the kids. It's not even Anderson Township. Community kids, but it honors first responders and others that put themselves secondarily and their financial interests secondarily to be able to do something for the community, do something for people, and make the world a better place than what they came into it as. And they put themselves second fiddle. And I think it'd be a great partnership with One More and I'm Out of Here, Failure to Stop, with all your law enforcement community and our community as well, to try to get something together. So if you're open for a phone call when we get done, I'd like to get one together with you and Keith. We'll give you a holler. I know you said something about baseball, football, whatever you have going on this evening.
Yeah, I missed that because of you guys.
Oh, good for you. I'm sorry about that.
You know what?
Right.
You know what?
Wow.
That makes me love you even more.
We have a
Right.
serious responsibility now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm of course
Change
I'm open.
plans for us.
You're not gonna have to twist my arm to.
I think it's going to be a great opportunity, great cause, and I think a lot of us can rally some support for this this nonprofit. That I'm not going to get into the technical aspects online right now until we nail it down, but I wanted to see if you guys were interested. Keith and I were going to talk about it earlier, but he got mandated, so we haven't had an opportunity. I got to give this guy a call back though tonight.
Drew, I also want you to touch on some of your PTSD stuff, like the shows that are being pushed. And
there's a movie that when I was first deciding to get out of the place where I was working, it was one of the reasons was because I was kind of running a comm center at one point, and I saw what was going on up there from a PTSD standpoint, or from the trauma that they're exposed to, and how, like, when I asked for stuff for them, it just kind of fell on deaf ears. Now, not everything, because the agency was definitely taking a turn at a turn for the better to address some of the mental health concerns. But there was a movie that was being kind of assembled at that point, and I had a Zoom call with the director. His name is Conrad Weaver, and we spoke for a little bit. So I gave a little bit of money towards this documentary film, and It had its release in November. It's called PTSD 911. It's not widely released. It's not widely available yet, but you can definitely buy a license for it if you're a first responder and show it to the rest of your first responder friends, or the PTSD 911 movie is the Instagram handle. So what I'm working on right now with the guy 108 memes from Instagram.
He's awesome, by the way. If you don't subscribe to him, you need to.
Is to bring PTSD 911 the movie to the Tampa Bay area, because he's kind of south of me. So we're working with the director to kind of set up a Florida tour, so they can bring the movie to Tampa, and then maybe the next night show it in the south of here, like Sarasota area. Now I could tell you that it's probably the worst time of the year. But July 3rd, I think it's going to be in Cincinnati. There's going to be a showing there. I don't know who's
I was just looking it up. I think it's in Springboro, which is probably 45 minutes north.
It's not that far. Why is that the worst time of the year?
Well, because people vacation for July 4th or whatever. I don't know if Cincinnati is a destination for July 4th activity.
We've got Kings Island and Skyline, Drew.
That's true.
I saw that. It hit my Facebook or Instagram, one of the two. I saw it, and I think I'm attempting to work out of a conflict, but I saw that was going to be close, and I knew you were, directly, connected to that.
Yeah, I
was trying to figure out when it was.
It's an amazing movie, just for the mental health became the buzzword. First responder mental health became the buzzword in the last 2 or 3 years, which, I can't say that that's a bad thing. It is a bad thing though, when it's a buzzword and it's not action. And this movie is action, because it does bring a lot of awareness to what happened. The police officer in the movie, spoiler alert, the police officer in the movie, she was fired by her department for not being able to hold a job. And the reason she can't hold a job is because the trauma from her department. Sometimes it's just not fair. And I was so glad that he brought a dispatcher into that. She's a brilliant person. She was one of the dispatchers, one of the radio dispatchers during the Boston bombing. And, she moved on to a different career for a while. And there's a fireman from the West Coast that just could not get rid of the demons, everything he tried, and how he overcame it. It's a really, really, really good movie to bring awareness to the pain and suffering that we've kept silent for years. So it's not just good for the first responder. It's good for the first responder's family member. It's good for the community to kind of see, look, this is a heavy flick, but this is kind of what we're not talking about, and this is what we want you to know.
Yeah. Can I ask you a quick question real quick? Being in charge, a former dispatcher and in charge of it.
Yeah.
First responders. When somebody is telling you, or when you're relaying a story, or one of your other coworkers, former coworkers and law enforcement were relaying a story, do you not form the visual of what they're telling you in your head while they're telling it, to where you can kind of see it instead of just listening to what they say?
Yes.
Like reading a book.
So
911 operators, I have to imagine, are technically, unless the officer wanders up on a call or a situation, they're going to be the first ones that are hearing this, and they're going to hear the emotion in the voice of the 911 caller. They're going to hear the background noise, and they're going to be forming that visual in their head of what is going on, what they're seeing, and based upon the reports that's coming from that call. So I hear what you're saying in regards to that person, and that's got to be traumatic, equally as traumatic for them as seeing the gruesome details on scene when you pull up with red and blues on, or reds, or whatever.
Being an audible witness to something is I had to do a research, or I chose to do a research project when I was in there. It was for promotional purposes, but it was also to help the people that were in the communication center where I worked. And I focused on dispatcher trauma. And one of the things that's talked about is the trauma is the exact same. It's if you witness it with your eyes versus if you hear it with your voice, with your ear, because you're hearing it raw. You're not hearing it 10 or 15 seconds after it happens. And on top of that, you can't reach through the phone and help anybody. There's a feeling of helplessness there. Then hearing the gunshots and stuff, and you're dead on there. I didn't say 100%, but you're dead on.
Well,
Just did
it's too
now,
late
damn it.
now. It's
That they don't have the
Any
closure.
Wolfpack members, anytime 100% said on failure to stop now, you have to drink.
Yeah.
Right. So they just don't have the closure. So if Jason and I show up to a bad car accident with where God forbid a child dies or a newborn is hurt or something, that's something that we'll probably deal with for the rest of our lives. But we were there to process it. So the nightmares come and the this or that. We actually have something to, like an anchor point to reference it to get it out of our system, so to speak. I don't even know if this is making any sense.
No, it does. But echoing on what you're
makes
saying,
perfect sense.
that's
to
why
me.
the first responder community is so tight. Because you guys can relate those stories back and forth, and it's good to talk about it. If we in criminal defense, former prosecutor, former cop, we may make light of shit that other people might. I am told multiple times not to say a fucking story that around like teachers and others that aren't in that area, because you'll make light of some serious shit. And it's not because we don't have concerns, we don't have compassion or a heart. It's just because that is our way of dealing with it at that time.
You're right.
And it's good to talk about things, and it does help you cope. And it helps you cope when you have brothers and sisters that deal with the same shit. And I am glad that it is starting to become a topic that's not taboo for regular people to talk about, because everybody has traumatic events in their lives. It's just a matter of degree, and it depends on how they deal with it.
Well, I know Rob and I have talked about it in the past, and Drew, I think you and I have talked about it before, just in the conversations or when we were in person. But when I first came into fire service, it was suck it up, kid, get ready for the next run, and
Same.
we just move on, right?
Yeah, same.
And I just posted a comment, the comments that I put up there, the last 5 years in this area, we have done a very, very good job. It's taken, it's a long road to hoe because you're trying to get budgets, and you got
Right.
It's not a popular topic,
but it's also money. You still have money that you have to put into it to, take somebody out to lunch and talk to them or whatever. We've done so much better. And then I'm gonna kind of flip a little bit, but like same thing with firefighter cancer awareness, where
all the shit that you guys breathe in.
So breathing in, absorbing, like we are doing so much better than we did when I first got in. I mean, I'm hoping to God that I make it to retirement. A, I'm not crazy. B, I don't have cancer of any sort. But we've done better at looking at what our bodies are entailing, whether it's mentally or physically.
Do you think part of that spike, Keith, with the awareness on the cancer and everything else kind of trickled down from 9/11 with the asbestos and inhalation and everything?
I think it definitely did. My personal opinion, I think it absolutely did. With all the asbestos that those guys breathed in while they were on
the dust
on
and
the
everything
hill.
else, God knows what was in it.
But the biggest leading cancer causing things for firemen are throat cancer, ball cancer, rectal cancer, and then lung cancer. But we absorb all that shit. So while we're sweating, we're getting all the carcinogens. So now we decon on the scene, take all our turnout gear off. It goes in a separate compartment till we get back. So it's versus just wearing the same shit all the way back.
Letting it soak in
the
your body.
cab, all those carcinogens are, it's microbes.
Yeah, right. And it's given off even more.
Yeah, it's all
like you shake it off in the
and even the off gassing of it. So like just not to take away from the PTSD part, but we have done so much good in the last 5 years, and I've been in for 22. So all the way before that, and then think of the guys in the 70s and the 80s that weren't wearing SCBAs or whatever, and then it's the same thing. Shut the fuck up, kid. Get ready for the next run.
I think that's generational too, though. I think that
It
the baby
absolutely
boom,
is.
yeah, the baby boom retired, and they were the suck it up buttercup generation, which is fine. I get it. I like that's how they survived. There are people, still people from that generation that are alive and kicking, doing just fine. But I would argue that not as well as they could be. And on top of that, things have become increasingly more violent in my profession, and things have become increasingly more carcinogenic in your profession. Like a new car right now, I think that's on fire probably is you're begging for cancer if you walk up on that.
Well,
don't even talk about the electric cars.
I was going to say with all the electric cars and all the acids and shit. But the PTSD. I mean, we can attempt to try to curb the cancer part. We can prevent that as much as we can, but the mental stuff. And I tell all of my new guys, I have a lot of young people at my firehouse. Excuse me. And I tell them every run that like maybe potentially where I won't think it's something big. Hey, let's talk about it. Let's do a debrief.
Oh, I was the same way.
Is everybody good?
Yeah.
All right. So what questions do you have? What, do you have any concerns?
It's just such a hidden, like you have no idea how it triggers people. You have no clue. Like, you can work you can work an elderly person's death, or, be with 2 or 3 officers on a scene of an elderly person's death. And then 2 or 3 days later, you can pick up on the fact that one of these guys is not performing like he normally was. And, come to find out he just lost his grandfather. I mean, so now he walks into this scene and he's triggered and doesn't even realize it. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, I think the more we talk about it, the more they're aware of it, and the more they're looking out for it, which I think is equally as important, but it's also equally important for you to be open to hearing what they have to say and helping and guiding them on the right path is my
absolutely.
Yeah. From a non-first responder perspective, I mean, what you guys have been talking about the last 10 or 15 minutes have really been eye-opening. And I mean, being in the news media, I lived a little bit of that, but not to the extent which you guys have.
But you still get it though. Like,
I'm definitely
see it.
Yeah,
so you're still prone to it. So,
but to hear you talk about it, and I think about the time, when I was doing the overnight news, and we would listen to scanners all night long, and so when you hear that scanner traffic, and you hear a police officer who's on the scene and saying shots fired, your mind registers 1,000 different things.
Yes.
And so the thing is, it can actually be way worse than what it sounds like, or it cannot be as bad. But being in that position, you don't know. You don't know with it. I mean, you're hearing a one-way conversation or a two-way conversation, but you don't know. So it plays mind games with you. It really does. And I have a brother-in-law who was a police officer, and we had a guy here named Sonny Kim, and when he got killed, it was really one of the most traumatic events that we've had in this community for a long, long time. And my brother-in-law is the guy that killed the guy that killed Sonny Kim, and he told me, he said, not only, and he had been on the force going on 25 years at that time. He said, not only was it the first time I ever had to pull my weapon, he said it was or the first time I had to fire my weapon, but it was the first time I ever had to pull it out.
Right.
So I mean, think, and turns out he had a hard time dealing with that. But like you said, been doing a lot better job dealing with that kind of stuff. The help was there for him to get the help that he needed, and he's been able to move on with his life. Now, if that had happened 15 or 20 or 25 years ago,
not the same.
Who knows
story.
what might have happened, because that the same resources were not there that are available, that we've had in the last 10 or 15 years around here.
And I'm not afraid to say, and I tell all my young guys, I go to a therapist at least once a month.
So do I.
At least once a month. If I need to go more, I do.
But get it out.
Do I need to go once a month? I don't know.
You got me.
But it makes me feel better. Oh, shit.
You feel better about yourself.
Jesus Christ. If I had
he goes to the therapist because of you.
Yeah.
Hey, did anybody drink because of the 100% Imperial girl did?
Yes.
So I'm one behind.
Yes, we did. We're uptight on that.
But no, I mean,
Shit, I said 100%.
it's okay to go see somebody. Go.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Did it
you to
again.
go. And if you don't want to go and you want to talk to me, or you want to talk to, my captain, or whoever, talk to somebody. It doesn't
Like
matter.
it's fine. Who gives a shit? Like
Right.
You're just all you're doing is like
Everybody, cops and firemen are alpha males and want to do this shit. And I did this, I did this. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. Keep retirement.
It's the same. A few generations ago when cops used to get teased for being in college. Like, okay, you want to make fun of me because I'm going to get an education?
Right.
Okay.
I
don't think it's wise, but whatever.
I think it was almost 15 years ago. I was a prosecutor. Cops needed to be in college.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I read a report once. Instead of he put his penis in her vagina, he put his penis in her Virginia. I was like, yeah, you got to have spell check on those word processors at some point in time.
You got to cut him some slack on.
I mean, how embarrassing is that shit show to put
little
up
slack on the spelling? It goes a long way.
Well, you're just acting for yourself right now.
Me too. My
We give you
my
slack for
spelling
the
is
reading.
my spelling is horrible. Speaking of reading, I want to talk about Elite Automotive for a moment. If your car won't start, maybe you have a light on, then you want to check in with our friends at Elite Automotive. Here's the phone number: 859-431-3548. Elite Automotive has the mechanics take care of all your needs. They are ASE certified. They have a modern facility, most up-to-date equipment, and some of the best tools in the business. You also get a 1-year parts and labor warranty with unlimited mileage. Taking care of customers is the main priority at Elite Automotive. So give them a call today for all your automotive needs. That is Elite Automotive. And once again, the phone number, 859-431-3548.
Car won't start. Better call Paul.
Better call Paul.
I got a great idea for a commercial. We're working on it for him.
That was a pretty good commercial.
It's
Even
pretty good.
It's pretty good.
You made it through.
You wrote it. I read it. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean,
you did read it better than Rob did the first time.
the first time, damn it.
Stuttering, stammering. Holy shit.
Was that with
It's like
Bronson?
it's like he never,
Oh, shit.
It's like
yeah.
he never read anything.
Yeah. I had never heard of
I know,
automotive before.
Did we have to pay some money back on that?
That's why I called you, Drew, on the Bronson one. We had some audio issues, but
Yeah, I was gonna say nobody could hear it anyway. Don't worry.
yeah, you may not have been able to hear it, so it worked out for you.
I know. But Bronson was a great guest.
Was that when you were
Yeah,
helping
it was
with
a
the
great
IT shit, Drew? Is that why we didn't have good quality audio?
I called him after. I called him afterward.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems to have improved since my fucking Midas touch.
No, we got a hold of dead leg. Jesus. Dead leg.
Jesus Christ, do you need to go to bed? I
Dead
think
log.
you need to go to bed.
I did all right last night.
You need to go night. Holy shit.
Night.
Unbelievable.
My
Drew,
God.
I'm impressed to see you actually drinking. Because every
It's-
podcast
it's,
I see water or some other fucking bullshit.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, not to put you on the spot, but it's a Guinness Zero. Like, I don't.
Are you shitting me? You're not drinking an alcoholic Guinness?
No, he
I
doesn't
don't.
drink.
No,
You know that.
I haven't had a drink in 14 years.
You know
I'm not
that,
going to start
fucker.
again.
Maybe I was drinking when he told me that. I can't remember. Why don't you just drink chocolate milk? That's what it looks like in that fucking glass.
It's delicious. It's
You know what?
delicious.
If you pass
You
out
do you,
early,
man.
Hey,
if you're going to
my
go
mother.
non-alcoholic, you might as well go right to the top.
Yeah.
There you
Also, my mother is legally blind. Do you want to fucking make fun of her as well? Or
Thank you.
oh
Thank
shit!
you. And that was perfect.
Hold on a second. Should I go to the car?
You're gonna do something dumb.
Do you want me to go to the
You're
car?
gonna do something dumb.
You know what I got?
That's
No.
That's the funniest thing someone said on this podcast today. That's fantastic.
I'll bring it down, Drew.
Anybody that doesn't know Rob, it's an acquired taste. So
I am an acquired. There are warnings given by people.
yeah,
I tolerate Rob.
this
I'll-
podcast may make it after today. I'm not sure. We'll see.
He can jide me about my alcohol problems all he wants.
Well,
He
there-
does.
No
bring
one,
good
no one
banter
listens to him
occasionally.
anyway.
there
Yeah.
is there is a video of me going to the UDF midnight. I had my wife.
That
videotape it.
video's not that good.
No, that shit's funny. No. I disagree.
What's so funny about
I
it?
disagree with you. Just
I've seen that video. It's not funny.
let him tell the story, and you shut your
Okay.
face.
You tell the story. I'm going to go take a leak.
Don't come back. Somebody put a door. Jesus Christ, Roofrick. Oklahoma.
He has no idea what he does.
Yeah, drunk one night. I was coming home. Wife was driving. Obviously, I'm a safe driver. I'm not, but she is. I have a blind person's trifold cane in my trunk. I actually had 3 at one time. Midnight drunk outside of UDF. I put sunglasses on and go in there and start smacking the shit out of everything. And the sad part is, this woman asked if I needed help out after I put my debit card in there, seamlessly processed the PIN number on it, and then picked up my 4 items on the counter without any hesitancy or any knocking over shit, and beat the other side of the store on the way out.
You sure are pretty, lady.
It is entertaining, man. You gotta have fun with life. I was drumming on car door handles one night coming from Montgomery.
We do need to put that on a YouTube channel.
Jesus,
It is actually probably one of the funniest videos I've ever seen.
You would make a good blind guy. I gotta be
stupid
honest.
shit, man. Well, I bought the blind stick because we got a buddy that looks like Hezbollah, a gorilla, and he's got this beard. Like any moment, he's gonna blow up a backpack and shit. I want to rent a goat and duct tape road flares around this goat's midsection, put a dog leash on it, and have him walk down Beachmont Avenue here, A1A, with the blind person's cane and sunglasses and the goat on a leash. And I'm going to call a couple buddies of mine that are cops here. Just give them a heads up. Hey, don't go lights and sirens. But you may get some calls about a terrorist walking down with a goat with dynamite loaded around its midsection, just to see what people do.
It helps that we know all the sheriffs.
Yeah.
So
that would be entertaining.
We could make it very, very entertaining.
Oh my God.
Drew, when we end this out, will you
oh shit, Imperial Girl. Good call. We got t-shirts if you guys want t-shirts with the 100% emoji on the back of them. And I just said it after. Damn it.
No, you're sending merch. I mean, it's not official, right?
No, our merch, actually, our t-shirts have 100% emoji. And I fucking did it again.
God damn it. Joe's gonna be so mad when I get home.
Yeah, it happens. My wife's mad when I get home just because I'm home. You go back out.
That's without the drink.
That's kind of how I am with you with this podcast.
I think it was
he showed up. Fuck.
2 Fridays ago, I felt ill and I got home about 5:15. I went to bed. I'm laying in bed at 5:30, and the kids and her are like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" I feel like shit. I got a fever and I'm just tired. And they're like, "Are you dying?" Kids thought I was dying because I was home on a Friday night at 5:30 p.m. Which I think might have been the first Friday night I'd been home before 10 o'clock in a while.
Just keep the AED charged.
Wait, Drew, when we end this broadcast,
car battery.
Can you just hang out here for a second?
Of course.
We'll have a quick chat. It's easier this way, probably.
Drew, by the way.
Drew, great talking to you, brother. I appreciate you being here, man.
Man, great talking to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
It's going to be fun.
You know,
if we can even get anywhere close to the magic that we had here that night, that we had in this room.
I don't know.
That was epic.
Everyone was together in this room. And I didn't know that was really the first time you guys had ever been in the same room doing a podcast.
Well, they hadn't. It's not them. We're talking about.
Well, I know the failure to stop guys, everything else. I'm just saying there was
a lot of firsts in that. Eric and I had
never
been
first, yes.
Yeah, and then I had never met Dexter. I'm not sure that Eric had ever met Dexter in person.
I didn't. There were a lot of where you're going. I apologize. I didn't know where.
No, I'm just saying that if we can do that when we all go down to North Carolina, and if we get anywhere close to having that much fun, it's going to blow the roof off the place.
Are you and Drew going to do the same thing you did in the corner here down there that kind of freaked everybody out?
Well, yeah, I don't care. I'll
let you practice on the way down. We got a 7.5 hour drive. He'll be ready for you, Drew, by the time he gets down to Clayton.
God bless him.
His lips might be a little chapped, and we're bringing balloons. We're taping balloons on the back. Follow us across America. We're from China.
I think it might be time to run this one out.
Yeah, we're gonna run it out. Kind of like I'm gonna run out my. Never mind. Drew, as always, a pleasure, and sit tight because we want to talk to you about the one thing that we want to talk to you about that we alluded to about 100 seconds ago. I just said
it. Pleasure, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for subscribing. Like the shit and keep coming back because we got banner, we got guests. We have, what is it?
Oh, we got
March 27th.
We got Merrill Hodge.
Yeah.
In person
March at the V, 8112 Beachmont Avenue. Merrill Hodge from Pittsburgh Steelers.
ESPN
NFL,
broadcaster.
ESPN analyst.
All Madden team.
We're working on, I'm not even going to tell you right now, but Breasy or Tansey's going to be jealous. And I'm looking forward to this shit show. It's going to be entertaining.
Okay, you're talking too much.
All right, my bad. Breasy.
Yeah.
I don't want to know about you,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have one elusive question to ask.
Mm.
Dano, do you manscape?